Hello, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be reviewing the love language cards, Better Language for Better Love. So a couple of reviews are on the back of the box. And the first one says, the cards provide stimulating conversation that goes deeper than normal. These would be great before marriage or getting to know someone. The discussion showed our different thoughts and viewpoints, but we were able to talk and discuss why we answered the way we did. We continue to fall in love. Tanisha. Lots of variety of questions. It's definitely a great conversation started to get my spouse and I growing intimately on an emotional level. Remind you of why you fell in love to start with. KB. So you get 150 questions to explore and deepen your connection with your partner and loved ones. Pick a card, take turns answering. Okay, so that's the box it comes in. And these are the cards. So they come in different categories. Like this one says couple on the bottom. This one says past and future on the bottom. This one individual. Sex and intimacy. Family. So as you can see, they come in different categories. Mine are all shuffled up. They come in different categories. I have enjoyed, okay, these fell out, so we'll read those. I have enjoyed asking my husband these questions, as well as my friend, a friend of mine who lives in another country. We talk almost every day through video chat. And her and I had a really good time with a lot of these questions. Some of them we had to alter. So instead of asking each other the question about each other, we would ask about like our separate relationships. So one question says, apart from sex, what other activity makes you feel close to me? So that's a really good question. I mean, like I said, some of these are definitely more geared, towards couples or partners or people who are getting to know each other in a romantic sense. But a lot of these, I put the cards back. Oh, well, a lot of these are great to ask even just of friends, family, whatever it may be. So we have, what's your most useless talent? I don't personally think there's such a thing as a useless talent. If you can make a travel bucket list, what are your top 3 cities? Would you give your child more or less freedom than you had growing up? So I'm going to go through as many of these as I can so you kind of get an idea. And plus, I'm not going to read each and every one. How about we take about half of those away? That way you still have a reason to buy the deck and you don't know each and every question. So I highly recommend them. The card quality is really nice. The questions are thoughtful. They're small enough that you can just throw them in like your purse or your pocket and go to the park or take them to an outdoor dining place and ask each other questions. Would you party in front of your children? What do you like to watch me do in bed? What's the one thing you would change about your mother? What's one quality you wish you had that you don't? And I think, as you're doing these cards I'm going to take some more of them out of this pile. I don't want to give away too much. I think the thing is when you're asking these questions, it's really important that you, number one, are honest, because there's really no point in, having a conversation if it's not going to be an honest conversation. And also that you allow the other person to also be honest without attacking, without shaming. If you're not going to create a safe space for conversation to be honest and real, I personally wouldn't even bother taking the time. That's just my opinion. That being said, there's a way to say things. You don't need to blurt things out in a way that's rude or has no consideration for someone else's feelings. But I do think it's great if you can just, before you sit down, especially if it's going to be with your partner and you're going to get into some of the deeper questions, to have just a little conversation prior to make sure that you're on the same page as far as you want to encourage honesty and you want to make sure you're being as understanding as possible. Because if the person tells you things being honest and you attack them, they're probably going to retreat into a place of either dishonesty or at the very least not being fully transparent. So as difficult as it is to hear things sometimes, me, myself, I would prefer the truth, the hard, cold, real truth, as ugly as it may be sometimes, to sugar-coated bullshit. Who in your life do you wish you met sooner? I wish I met my husband sooner in a way, but I also feel like divine timing is there for a reason, and I don't know that I necessarily would have been ready for someone of his level before I actually met him. I think when I met him was when I was at a really good point in my life where I felt good about myself, my life. I was happy doing my own thing. So I think sometimes, even though we wish things maybe happened sooner, I think more often than not, there's a reason that things unfold in the time that they do. Who's the black sheep in your family and why? Me. I'm the black sheep in my family. Because I've decided to just live in a way that not everybody agrees with, and that's totally fine. Not everyone has to get what you do as long as you're not hurting people. It's really up to you what you do or don't do with your life. What is the rule you have for yourself that you will never break? Besides being faithful to my husband, I would say staying true to myself. I think that's really important. You know, you're the only person who's going to be in your life every single day, every minute of every day. Nobody else, not your kids, not your spouse, not your, coworkers, your boss. Only you will be taking up space in your life literally every day, all night, 24 hours a day, from the moment you start breathing until the moment you stop. So you really should learn to be a good friend to yourself. What's the thing I do in bed you'd want me to do more often? With my situation, maybe back rubs, more back rubs, because I live from back rubs. If I don't say so, how do you know that I want to have sex? Well, that's a personal one. I'll leave that one alone. Ideally, how many times a week would you want to have sex? What is the best piece of advice you've ever received? Like I just said, to be true to yourself. It's really important. What 3 qualities would you most like to raise your children to embody? I don't have kids, so I'll skip. Have you ever bragged about our sex life? I think that's something people should be wary of. I don't think there's a problem getting a little bit into, the bedroom stuff, maybe with a couple of close friends that you trust. But I think there's, I don't know, just sometimes I think certain things are better off when they're private. It actually, to me, makes it sexier knowing it's like this thing that we're doing, and the details of it are only between us. I think that kind of, I can't believe my coffee is already cold. I can't believe that that kind of thing is, of course, a personal choice, but I feel like the mystery of people not really knowing what you do or don't do behind closed doors is sexy. So to each their own. That being said, what's the most important value you would teach your children? How would you react if your child hit you? Oof, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. And I think if, some people do have kids for one reason or another who do hit or throw things and things like that. And I think at that point, professional help is really necessary. Someone who specializes in, working with children and children's behavioral issues and things like that, because, it's a kind of thing that you know, how do you really approach it when you're not a professional and you don't really know how to, you know, deal with it in a way that's appropriate and that's going to like be beneficial. And, you know, so I actually have a friend who is in that situation where her child sometimes acts out in certain ways. And again, I think it's important to know that it's okay to reach out for help. I think it's better than okay. What's the one thing that should be taught in school but isn't? Oh my God, there's so much that should be taught in school but isn't. Like how to manage your finances, how to properly manage your emotions, how to purchase a house, how to purchase a car. There's so many life skills that are not taught in school while we waste our time memorizing who the president was on any given time of history and memorizing the capital of states and long division that we'll never use. I really feel like it's a shame, at least when I was coming up. That's how it was. What's a question you've never asked me? Well, ask me anything you like. I'm a very open book. So if you're still here listening and you have a question for me, feel free to drop it. If it's not disrespectful, I'm 100% open to answering questions. And I would actually love some engagement in the videos. I would love to get to know. I would love to get to know who's watching me and why, and you know, like what brings you to the channel. What is the best compliment you've ever received? For me, getting complimented on anything to do with my art, dancing or writing or photography, that's always way more heartfelt for me than any kind of compliment about looks. What's something you hate seeing other people do? Chew with their mouth open. If you can help it, I would love it if you didn't. What would you do with an extra $1,000 to spend only on yourself? Ooh, that's a tough one. I could easily spend $1,000 on books. I love books. That could go really quick. Or some new comfy but stylish clothes. I tend to live in my favorite hoodie and my favorite leggings and all of that. So maybe some clothes. I don't know. That's a tough one. When do you feel the most protected and taken care of? When it doesn't happen a lot, but when my husband and me, and I should say my husband and I, and our two big dogs are all laying in bed together. Because sometimes when we get up around like 6 in the morning to take the dogs out, we'll go back to bed and we'll let them, you know, lay with us for a couple of hours before we get up for the day. And they lay on one side of me, he's on the other side. So yeah, it feels really safe and cozy. Oh, describe your favorite smell. Well, here's one of them right now. Pine. I absolutely love the smell of pine. Do you believe in fate? If so, name an experience that has validated it. Meeting my husband, I could tell that story. I won't waste your time. If you're interested, let me know and I will tell you the story. But what has stayed the same in this relationship since the beginning? Would you be open to using props in bed? Oh, I love this one. Shh. This card is blank, but no one needs to know. Ask a question you've always wanted to know. I love that one because the person will think whatever you asked was on the card. So this is your chance to ask anything you've wanted to know. How important are your siblings to you? What do you need from me right now? Okay. What would you like to see me do with this channel? I'm not really sure what that noise is. What would you like to see me do with this channel? Is there anything I could do that would make it better? Do you have a relative you've lost touch with that you miss? What time of day do you most prefer to be intimate? Is there anything you've longed to do with your life that you haven't? What makes you feel appreciated? Well, for this channel, I would appreciate it. I've never asked, I don't think, if you would hit the subscribe button, the like button, leave a comment. And if you really want to go for the gold, hit the notification button and maybe even share it with a friend. Thank you. How many children would you like to have or would have wanted? And if there's any questions that when they come up, you're like, you know what, I don't want to go there. Maybe you're having like a lot of fun and then a really heavy question comes up and it's like, I don't want to take the mood from really light and airy and fun and I'm having a good time to something heavy and, that's going to bring the energy down. I think it really depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to really dig deep and get into things, then maybe you have to sit through the uncomfortable stuff. If your goal is just to have a fun night with friends or, a fun, flirty break from the everyday mundane shit of life with your husband or your wife or your partner, maybe you want to skip the questions that are going to bring you to a heavier place. You have, 100 something questions? 150 questions. If one of them doesn't sit right with you, just skip it. What would you do in life if money wasn't an issue? I would teach dance for free. Instead of having to charge anything for it, I would teach dance for free. I would teach how to do my paintings for free. They're kid-friendly, so it could be a family-friendly event. I would teach how to do self-portraits for free. You would never know it by the way I'm dressed on these videos and all that, but I love taking self-portraits, not selfies, self-portraits where you actually put some time and thought into setting up your props and your outfit and your lighting and all that stuff. There's so much I would love to teach for free because so many people, and I know I, for a long time, was in the situation. So many people can't afford classes even when they are $10, $15. That $10 or $15 just isn't there. But unfortunately, I do have bills myself to pay. But if money wasn't an issue, yeah, I would teach for free. What is your most vivid memory of the first time we were intimate? And if you're doing this with a friend, you could say the first time we met or the first time that if there's an activity you do together, the first time you did that. What's one thing you miss the most about your father? I miss my father a lot. He's been passed for a while now. I miss his laugh because he had a really ridiculous, loud, hitting his knee and rocking back and forth, just laugh, so much life in that laugh that you couldn't help but laugh too. And also he was the reason I got into photography and art. He was an artist with photography and drawing, and he was amazing. Had some stuff in our local galleries and sold some stuff. Yeah, that's what I miss the most, his art and his laugh. Are you closer to your father or mother, and why? Like I said, my dad's passed. So what is the first thing you think of when you hear the word home? My husband and my dogs. Because as long as we are together, I am home. What childhood dream have you accomplished? Owning a home with a big backyard and dogs and trees and driving a truck. I always wanted to drive a truck because I like camping and shit like that. I always wanted to have dogs. I always wanted trees in my backyard because I grew up in a city. And yeah, I got it. Would you ever have a home birth? No, I'm too scared for that kind of stuff. No, I just couldn't. I need all the help around me that I could get. What's your dream family holiday destination? Someplace with a cabin and snow and a fireplace, and we could just sit by the fireplace and cook in the kitchen and ask these questions and just watch the snowfall. And yeah, I'm a very simple, easy to please kind of person. Who else do you count on as a source of support? My good friend. Close your eyes and describe the things you like most about my body. That's nice. And you can do that for yourself. You can close your eyes and tell your body or think about the parts of your body that you love the most or that you want to give gratitude towards. And last but least, oh no, that's not, I'm not ending on that. Last but least, nope. Apparently this thing doesn't want me to stop. In 10 years from now, what do you think you'll miss the most from today's present? It's hard to say because who knows where things will be in 10 years. But I guess just being, I don't know. I mean, 10 years, I guess just being the age that I'm at now, because, you know, I'm not afraid of getting older. I'd certainly prefer that to dying young. But, you know, obviously as you get older and older, you start to become usually anyway, you start to experience certain things physically one way or another that you didn't when you were younger. Even just lack of energy, even just like less energy. So I think that's what I'll miss. And not saying that 10 years from now I won't have any energy and I'll be like in a full body cast, hopefully not, but yeah. Hopefully there won't be much to miss. Okay, and last, I'm going to do one more. Last one, have you ever cried tears of joy? Yeah, yes, I did at my wedding. Just for a moment when I was saying my vows, I did have a moment. Yeah, so there we are. So those are the questions one more time. This is love language, better language for better love. It doesn't really say who made it. In the inside, I never noticed that. On the inside of the box, it says, human connection in the digital age, whether you just started dating or have been married for 20 years, the love language has been specifically designed to create powerful and fun conversations with the people you love. And that's the inside of the other box. So that's it. Thank you for your time. I hope you had fun with this review and getting to know me a little bit. Feel free to answer any of those questions in the comments or ask me questions that weren't here in this review. Again, lots and lots of them that we didn't get to. But until next time, take care and much love.